had some problems with her computer. So she called tech support and was talking to this guy, and you know, he was trying to troubleshoot. He's like, did you? She's like, it won't even turn on. And he's like, okay, did you? Wow, that night passed really fast. But anyway, he was like, did you? Did you? Has your power supply been acting funny? She's like, no, just on her. And she's like, okay, have you had any like issues with your battery? Did you install any new drivers recently? Any new like software updates? Did you have any viruses? And he went through like every single conceivable problem that could have been wrong with that computer. Finally, at the end, he's just like, well, he's like, okay, he's like, we should have checked the iris first. He's like, is your computer plugged up? She's like, I don't know. And he's like, what do you mean? And she's like, oh, well, it's too dark to see down there. I haven't paid my electric bill in 2 months. And he just flew off the handle and started like just going off on this girl on a big profanity-laden tirade, and he lost his job over that. Like I would have
Well,
gone off too, dude. I would have just like, I would have, I don't know, like, we're not gonna mention any specifics, but Fizz and I, we had class together in high school, and we had a certain teacher who taught us about computers, and I'm gonna use the word taught very loosely. Yeah.
yeah, because it's quite terrible. I mean,
He taught us
you
about
know,
computers the way we're teaching people about Minecraft. Let's put it that way.
yeah, well, pretty much all he did, and Ax, you can agree with me, he sat back there at his desk and he played World of Warcraft like it was going out of style.
Yeah, like all he did was play WoW. And see, the thing is, like sometimes, and see, here's the bad part. Like he actually knew his stuff, but he just didn't know. He didn't. I don't know if he couldn't convey it or he just didn't want to. But like, I would sometimes just ask him questions, like to see if he knew the answers and everything. But Fizz, as you alluded to, the guy he just sat back there, played the Warcraft, and that was it. Like, and yeah, Fizz, I know you love some WoW. It's a great game, everyone knows. But that there, like, we were coming there to hopefully learn something. And Fizz, I know computers are a subject you're interested in, and I'm interested in them too. And we came there to learn, and you know, it
Definitely,
just
and
did not happen that way.
we got nothing really. Pretty much what the point of it was, we were supposed to go for 2 years. By the time our senior year, by the time we got out of there, we were going to take a test to get our A plus certification. Well,
Oh boy.
turns out that we never did get the stuff to go take our test. So
Yeah.
pretty much we wasted 2 years.
Yeah, like we were supposed to get these vouchers, and they would verify that we had completed the necessary amount of hours to be able to have the option to take the test. And there was a hardware test and a software test, so they were kind of far off because this was like the real deal. Like if we had got this, Fizz and I could have been making a suitable living doing this. We wouldn't have to worry about college or anything else because we would have been able to get a job with this stuff because it would have been like a certificate. And as everyone knows, computer science is probably the area most likely to guarantee employment, maybe second only to medical. But anyway, we like you said, we stayed there for 2 years and stuck it out to try to get those vouchers, and like they never came. Like, and the thing was, people just swept it under the rug. Like they were like, we'd go back and ask them like, oh, your vouchers aren't here and all this stuff, and like. I'll be honest with you, Fizz. I probably wouldn't have passed the test, but at least I would have known what was on it, so I could, so I could like buy a book and go study. Because as soon as we graduated that program, like he said, it ended at the end of our senior year. I actually went
Yeah.
out and bought an A plus certification book and was actually studying in to, an attempt to get ready for this test. And then, another guy who he's gonna hopefully be playing some Ragecraft and some modern Ragefare with us soon. He went to our teacher and asked him. He was like, "Hey, can we have our vouchers?" And the teacher's like, "Oh, they're not here." And he just like brushed it off like it was nothing. Our friend's like, "Oh, well, what are we supposed to do?" He's like, "I don't know. Gonna go play some WoW. See ya." And we're like, "Okay."
Yep, pretty much like up almost level 85, so gotta
Yeah.
go.
And if anyone has watched my previous videos, you're gonna notice that I just have bad luck with teachers. And see, the thing was, this guy was a super, like, he was just, like, an awesome guy. Like, he liked anything that we liked, he liked. Like, he was a beast at guitar, he loved metal music, he, loved video games and all this stuff, built these super computers and everything. So he had, he seemed like he would be cool to hang out with, but, oh, should we tell him about how he was so paranoid and scared all the time?
Go for it. I'm pretty sure that they will get a kick out of it.
Okay, this guy, although he was cool, he had like the worst nerves ever. Like he was for some reason, like he must have been like running from the law or something, because he was like always constantly afraid that he would go to jail. So one time, a friend of mine had discovered that our teacher played guitar, and he was pretty darn good at it. So my friend and I, we play music all the time, and my friend had a little studio set up at his place with like drums and nice recording software and mics and just the works. So he's like, why don't we ask this guy to come jam with us? Because at the guy, it was a technical school, because we were learning like the A plus certification was technically considered a trade. So we were like, okay, it's not like he's our regular teacher. He can come jam with us and hang out. So my friend one day asked me, he's like, hey, would you oh darn it. He's like, would you like to come jam with us and everything? And his response was like so quick. He was like, guys, I can't. I could go to jail. And I was like, you could go to jail for coming to play some music with us. And he's like, yeah, I could go to jail. I'm like, how? Like, unless he was planning to touch us inappropriately, which that's kind of disturbing.
I don't want to think about that X. But
I always got weird vibes off the guy. I'm just gonna say it. He's probably gonna find this.
Well, it's okay.
Because he's a huge fan of gaming. He's probably like we talked about doing LPs and stuff, and like he's probably like a ridiculously established LPer now. Like he probably has like 800,000 subs by now, and he's just like, maybe that's what he was doing all the time. He was like rendering out his videos back there. Like he would record stuff before we got there, and he would just render out the videos while we were supposed to be learning.
You know what? That might be it. Never did think about that.
Fez, we gotta tell him about the incident that he told us never to talk about, the keylogger incident.
Oh, Lord.
All right.
Please. I will add once you start.
All right. In case anyone doesn't know, a keylogger is a program that you put on a computer, and it's a very discrete program. If you put a keylogger on a computer, you don't want the user of that computer to know it's on there. It's a program that stays hidden, and what it does is it records every keystroke that is made on that particular computer, and then sends it off to a destination that is predetermined when you install the keylogger. So basically, it's a program that can get you in a lot of trouble, because with this thing you can steal personal information, you can steal social security numbers, you can steal financial records, you can just cause a lot of trouble with this. So we had just learned about this stuff one day. This is like when he was actually teaching us stuff, which was, those days were few and far between. But anyway, so we come to class one day, and like he's like, nobody get on the computers, I'm serious. And he was like kind of ticked off, and we're like, what happened? Did somebody like, originally I thought that someone had like stole the computer, and I was like, how would someone get a computer out of here without him noticing? So he's like, all right. He's like, guys, I'm just gonna level with you. He's like, someone has installed a keylogger on one of these computers. And he's like, as I said before, keyloggers are, they're bad news. He's like, keyloggers are only there. He's like, they have their purpose. He's like, but they're bad news. He's like, so, we're gonna have to talk about this. And like, we seriously, like, it was what, 2 consecutive days, Fizz, that we weren't allowed to get on the computers?
Yeah, and it's like we sat around our round tables like, Knights of the Round Table or something. For
like freaking Merlin
2
or
days.
something. It was ridiculous. And see, he tried to make us do book work, but see, at that point, we had already established that the guy was not like, a legit teacher or anything, so it wasn't like we were going to listen to him. He was like, you guys have to just open the books, and he wanted to just write verbatim out of the textbooks. Like, nobody was doing it. We were sitting around trying to figure out who was responsible for this thing. So I remember I had an established alibi. Fizz, I know you had an alibi, and a lot of other people had an alibi, but I'm going to go ahead and tell people the one person in this situation that was kind of... Are you out of cobblestone?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put some in the chest and you can get it out.
Alright.
But the one person who had been acting really, really fishy... There you go. Who had been acting really, really fishy was our friend who's actually probably going to be doing some games with us pretty soon. He is like, whenever we would try to figure out who was doing this crap, or who had done this, he would just like kind of brush it off. He would be like, oh guys, let's just not worry about it. Let's just do the work. And we'd be like, dude, you want to sit here and like write out of the book when we could be online, doing God knows what? And he's like, yeah, man, let's just do what he told us to do. And so that was fishy. All right, and it looks like we got our fortification done. Cool. I'm gonna go hang up another torch. All right, I'm gonna take a break from the story to tell everyone this is a good way to, if I can hang the torch up. This is a good way to get started. Like, you want to build a nice fortification, have your crafting table inside, have your bed, have a trunk. Make sure it's gonna hold. And I'm just gonna make more torches. Screw it. But anyway, back to the story. The one guy, he had been acting really fishy. So at that point, we all pretty much knew that he did it. So I asked the teacher. I was like, what would happen if the person who did this admitted to doing it? And the teacher, he thought for a second. He's like, well, if I find out who did it and they don't tell me, he's like, I will, he's like, if I find out by myself, he's like, I will punish the person accordingly. He's like, they will probably get kicked out of the vocational program. And he's like, and they will not be able to go take their certification test, which at that point, if we had known that we were never going to get to take it anyway, we wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, we would have been very bad students.
Yeah.
If we would have just known.
So at this point, we're sitting there and telling our friend, we're like, you have to confess, you have to confess. And so he calls us, like, teacher guy calls us out in the hallway numerous times, trying to get people to confess, because he knew deep down who did it. Looking back, Fizz, I think he knew, but he just didn't want he wanted them to admit it. There we go. He wanted them to admit it instead of him having to pry it out of him. Well,
That's true.
so we were trying to get this guy to confess, and we were freaking out. So finally, teacher's like, he's like, I'm going to give whoever did this one last opportunity to say it. He's like, if you do not say it this time, he's like, we're not getting on the computers for the rest of the year. And he's like, and if I find out that it was you and you do not admit it to me right now, he's like, punishment will be severe. So finally the dude stands up and he's like, I did it. He's like, and his excuse was so funny. He's like, it popped up as a pop-up when I was doing something and I clicked it thinking like I was just trying to close an ad. But Fizz, you remember why he did it, don't you?
I want to say yes, but then again, I'm not really for sure.
There was a guy here, and let's go out. I'm gonna need another wooden plank. There was a guy in our class who no one could really stand, and we're not gonna mention names, but Fizz, I know you know who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Like, no one could stand the guy. He was like, he induced rage, more than ragecraft, more than modern rage fair too, but he induced rage. So he played RuneScape, and it's a very popular game, and the person, my friend, who was responsible for this whole keylogger fiasco, he had been playing RuneScape for years. Like, it had probably been like 6 years or something. So being that he didn't like this other guy either, he basically hacked this guy's profile, or put a keylogger on there to get the guy's password, and took like all his RuneScape stuff and all this stuff. And anyway, the guy, who no one liked, he came back like days later, and he's like, oh man, yeah, I quit playing RuneScape. It just got boring, I was too good. And I'm like, yeah, you quit playing because, this guy jacked all your stuff. He deserved it, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't like to see anyone get like anything they work hard for just taken away, but this guy, man, he just deserved it.
Well, he had an ego that was out of this world.
Yeah,
No
like,
joke.
the dude thought that like he was God's gift to the world, like, and he